is your host, Seth the Programmer, and today we are talking about Minato, the 4th Hokage, and his scaling in the Naruto series. And throughout the years, the Naruto fandom has been pioneering its scaling, and even to this day, it's not done. We're coming up with new things all the time, and due to such, it's divided into many categories of thought, and with this many categories,
Oh, I thought that was English Dave calling me for a second. Yeah, if English Dave phones us up, we're totally doing the setup mission, by the way, because I want that free.
Hello, Chuck. Now, here's your old friend indeed here.
Speaking of the devil.
Shift away from a serious wobbling.
categories, their obvious bias coinciding with their favorite said characters comes into place and so forth. Of those many characters, the Hokage tended to be most looked at alongside the Uchiha, and of those, the 4th Hokage, Minato, was always one of the more popular characters in the West. But despite this, you'll notice that he has a fan base with either incredibly low or incredibly high standards. Incredibly high standards being pretty common in any fan base, so let's not count them. Many people similar problem with Minato that they used to have with Hiruzen, that he always seemed like a mid-tier Kage, Sannin-esque at best type of character, but that felt so wrong. But I just couldn't put my finger on it, so I decided to look into it and see what I saw in Minato when I first read through the series that created this feeling of higher standards and hopes I always had deep in the pit of my chest when thinking about the series. Reading through Naruto, you'll notice that the 4th Hokage is always the standard that Naruto is being measured to, and that the 4th Hokage always seems to be looming over Naruto's head and his feet. Hey Naruto, can you master a jutsu the 4th made? Hey Naruto, can you make a jutsu the 4th couldn't make? Hey Naruto, can you become as fast as the 4th Hokage? Hey Naruto, can you surpass the 4th? He's even on the first page of the entire manga being called the champion of Konoha, even before we ever officially are given any feats by him, and he's mainly a mystery grab character. We do get some impressive lore scaling that could be used later. During part 1, Orochimaru, the most powerful and most evil of all enemies of the Leaf Village, at least as described in Kishimoto's fan book, threatens to attack and destroy Konoha. It's at this point that Hiruzen, the 3rd Hokage, the most wise person alive in the Narutoverse, at least at the time, states that there is nobody alive that can take on Orochimaru anymore, possibly not even himself, in which it stated if only Minato were here. Hiruzen, even in his old age, was still considered the most powerful of the 5 Kage, more powerful than Inoki in his particle style, the 4th Raikage in his lightning cloak, the perfect Jinchuriki Yagura, and Rasa with his Shukaku Plus level magnet release. Hiruzen was stronger than all of them, and this is shown during the 4th Great Ninja War, when an even slightly weaker, older Hiruzen, albeit with less old man stamina restrictions, outdoes every Kage in person in the alliance fighting Guru Yamato and the Buddha statue. But it's even more interesting to consider that Minato is more than likely still more powerful than an even younger and considerably more powerful Hiruzen. Looking back to the Nine Tails attacks around 13 years before Operation Konoha Crush, Hiruzen is tasked to hold off the complete Nine Tails with the Leaf Village, while Minato has to defeat Obito with a Hashirama Cell and body. Mind you, Minato had used a substantial amount of chakra before fighting Obito via his Flying Thunder God Guiding Thunder Jutsu, which is basically him creating a massive barrier over space-time itself that rips a hole before Operation Konoha Crush. Hiruzen is tasked to hold off the complete Nine Tails with the Leaf Village, while Minato has to defeat Obito with a Hashirama Cell and body. Mind you, Minato had used a substantial amount of chakra before fighting Obito via his Flying Thunder God Guiding Thunder Jutsu, which is basically him creating a massive barrier over space-time itself that rips a hole through space and teleports whatever touches it. This requires a ton of chakra and is the entire reason Minato seems to have such low stamina a lot of the time, as people underestimate what this flying Raijin barrier really is. It's abusing and transcending space-time, and when it comes to these barriers, it's even worse, as it's not just appearing at a different location, it's actually ripping through space. You could say it's similar to the Comwing, which we've all seen the insane amounts of chakra that requires through massive holes in space. Now obviously they aren't the same and have different strains, but downplaying Minato's stamina using this is a little ludicrous to me. So after Minato makes this steroid Comwing warp of Bijou Bomb, he goes on to fight an Uchiha with Mangekyo feats that even Minato believes it can only be Madara. However, little to Minato's knowledge, Obito did this with just the base Sharingan, not even his Mangekyo Sharingan. As a reminder, there are many Uchiha in the Leaf Village, even those like Wicked Eyes Fugaku Uchiha, who is a legendary Mangekyo user, yet they don't seem to stack up to...
On Redfin, you can tour homes virtually with a 3D walkthrough. That's real estate done right.
Obito simply being there to him. With Hashirama amps and an absurdly overpowered Mangekyo ability that Minato claims would manipulate and belt whip pain when talking to Naruto, Minato slaps him with seemingly little effort, even while drained from his flying thunder god from earlier. However, little to Minato's knowledge, Obito did this with just the base Sharingan, not even his Mangekyo Sharingan. As a reminder, there are many Uchiha in the Leaf Village, even those like Wicked Eyes Fugaku Uchiha, who is a legendary Mangekyo user, yet they don't seem to stack up to Obito simply being there to him. With Hashirama amps and an absurdly overpowered Mangekyo ability that Minato claims would manipulate and belt whip pain when talking to Naruto, Minato slaps him with seemingly little effort, even while drained from his flying thunder god from earlier with the Ninetales. Pain would be the same character that would go on to dominate Sage Naruto with the godly Sage Toads of Mount Myoboko, Jiraiya, Kakashi, and every clan in the Leaf Village at all the same time. Minato then overpowers and seals off Obito from the Ninetales after blasting his Hashirama arm off with the Rasengan, and Obito is forced to retreat. Some like to downplay this by saying that Orochimaru claimed that it was a mistake that Minato was chosen over him for Hokage. However, this doesn't need to be power related, as Minato was the youngest Hokage in history, and wisdom and experience was more than likely being looked at by a lot of people for this role. To further prove that doesn't necessarily have to be power based, it should be noted that a lot of people thought Minato could actually defeat Orochimaru, and that a much stronger and older Orochimaru with summonings was getting stalemated by a suppressed gremlin-aged Hiruzen, in which Orochimaru himself even states that Hiruzen from 10 years ago would have probably smacked him up. As a reminder, this Ninetales incident where everyone was looking at Minato to save the day with Hiruzen present, and then Minato was considered the fastest ball shinobi, was 13 years ago, so it would be even worse. Getting back on track, from here the third Hokage's battle with the Ninetales was reaching its limits, and although he was much younger and strong enough to slam the Ninetales out of the village, he couldn't do it for long. It was to the point that Hiruzen and every shinobi fighting the Ninetales simply stated they need to hold out until Minato could solve the problem. This makes a lot of sense also as well, considering that Minato, when Kushina gave birth to Naruto, thought he could suppress the Ninetales by himself. Minato finally appears and confirms again that it will require a large portion of Chopper to teleport the Ninetales and his Bijou Bomb away, especially after using so much high-level jutsu from earlier. He also had to react to the entire Ninetales attacking Kushina as fast as it could, and having to teleport between its attack and the teleport away, despite it being so close already to begin with. This feat is also interesting considering that Naruto, with a vague portion of only half the Ninetales chakra, was able to blitz the fourth Raikage to the point that it would require the Ninetales amp to have given Naruto an advantage over the Raikage around 70 plus times. And here's Minato dodging the entire thing, albeit just not centimeters in front of his face like Minato and Naruto did to the Raikage previously. I'll also leave that calc for the Ninetales cloak that Naruto had versus the Raikage in the description. Minato and Kushina then discuss what they'll do with the Ninetales, and Minato, with Jiraiya's prophecy in mind, decides that making Naruto the Jinchuriki is the best option, although Kushina thinks it pointless to use the Reaper Death Seal to make Naruto a Jinchuriki. Minato claims that it's for the village, and Kurama picks up on this and attempts to kill an infant Naruto after Kushina's chains loosen, in which Kushina and Minato physically stop the Ninetales arm from reaching Naruto by sacrificing themselves even further, which, in a weird way, is kind of a physical feat, since they're stopping the entire Ninetales with just their bodies. This is the death of the fourth Hokage, a shinobi so fast, skilled, and powerful that the fourth Raikage actually believed that no shinobi could defeat Minato, and every nation was ordered to flee on sight after Minato, even in his weaker, younger years as a Jonin, slaughtered platoons of thousands of the Pride of the Stone, and so forth. His only real feats at the time are being able to avoid the full Ninetales at close proximity and protect the whole village numerous times from its attacks, and sealed away after bodying a Hashirama and Mangekyo Uchiha stronger than anything they've heard of since Madara. And he stated faster than any shinobi alive, including the heroes that Orochimaru feared would murk him in any of the 5 Kage. He also...
What the fuck, bro? I just sold my nigga.
319! Mike, man, that's trash. That's trash. Watch 98. Watch 98. 98 to Mike. Let's go, Heavy. What you got, Heavy? Give me some. Give me some. 319. Get Mike. Shake down. Shake down. 258! 65! 65! 65! 318! 98 to Mike.
I got him. I got him.
What? 98 to Mike. Yeah. You don't know. Lennon! 319! To Mike. I'm scared. 198. 399? Mike.
He don't know no better.
Lennon! 258!
Lucky.
Let's go, let's go! Lennon! 319! Mike. Man out. 98 to Mike. Lennon! 319! Easy. 319 out.
Was able to threaten the life of the fourth Raikage and the perfect Jinchuriki of the Eight Tails Killer Bee with just a kunai, while also trying to teach them a lesson about resolve and mutual respect. Even cutting through Killer Bee's partial transformations, which could deal with Obito's paths of pain, and even the Nine Tails for a brief scuffle inside of Naruto's conscious later on. So, where's the downplay coming from? During the war arc, all of the Hokage are revived. All of them said Tobirama at this point pretty hyped up, although Tobirama would spend this war showing what he's about as a character to make up for that. Minato starts off by showing his body flicker that surpasses even Tobirama. This body flicker is often mistranslated by Viz throughout all of Naruto to mean teleportation. However, body flicker
Let's go, boys. Bring it up.
Here we go. 180. Snickers. 66.
Hey, D-Lo.
Quarter.
Get in there.
Black.